Hello Internet, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to share with you a list of books that to me just give summer vibes. And I have Willow here, she's trying to dig right on my lap, which is not cool. And we are going to go through a list of books that either take place in summer or to me just say summer. So Willow's here, I have a stack of books, and I'm so excited to share them all with you. Let's start with The Unraveling of Cassidy, Holmes by Elissa R. Sloan. And so this is about Cassidy Holmes, who was part of this girl group in the 90s. And as a 90s baby, I loved that. And the group called, I'm trying to think, Gloss. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Gloss. I just wanted to double check. Is like at the height of their career, and then just everything falls apart. Very similar to Daisy Jones and the Six. Then, years later, the group is reunited because Cassidy has committed suicide. So now it's the group looking back on their relationships, their friendships, and kind of what happened and caused Cassidy to fall apart. They hadn't talked to her for a long time and caused her to take her own life. And the cover, to me, the sunglasses, the bright colors, just to me says summer. And it's a great fun read, especially if you loved Daisy Jones and the Six, and especially if you are a 90s baby like me. Unpopular opinion, I like this more than Daisy Jones. But that's just me, and like I said, it's because I was a 90s baby. Next, we have a quite popular book, and that is Crazy Rich Asians by Kwan. If you don't know this book, this follows Rachel. And she and her boyfriend, Nick, are flying to Singapore, which is where Nick is from, to go to a wedding. And she has no idea that Nick is actually crazy rich, from an extremely wealthy family. They live a really low-key life together in New York, so this is quite a shock to her. And so when Rachel gets to New York, it's this big, huge shock, and she's just trying to process through all of this and just the crazy lifestyle that her boyfriend comes from. It's part of a trilogy. I love these books so much, and it's just a really good poolside read. It's light and fluffy, but still full of drama and familyness. So I definitely recommend this if you're looking for a good poolside read. Another book is this book is another favorite of mine, and that's Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty, and this takes place in Australia. That's important because I was like, what do you mean they're going back to school after Christmas? Like, they're starting the school year. Then I was like, oh, Australia. So this follows several families at this preschool, and then there's accusations that come out. There's a new kid there, his young mom, and she's trying to fit in with all of these moms who come from like wealthy backgrounds, really set nuclear families, and it's just, there's accusations made against her poor little son, and then you're learning that things are not quite as nice as they seem. So all the glitters is not gold. You know, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. Oh, and there's a murder. Forgot to mention that there is a murder. So this is a great poolside read or a great vacation read if you're looking for something slightly heavier, but still fun, exciting, and light. All right, the next book is one I haven't read, but for some reason I look at it and I'm like, yes, summer. And that is A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I'm sorry, Willow has climbed under the TV stand. And, you know, I'm just going to let her do her thing. This is a young adult book, and it is in a world where sirens exist. And they're really looked down upon in society. They're ostracized. And the main character, Tavia, must keep her siren powers a secret. And then you have Effie, who's just trying to figure out who she is in the world. And then there is a murder, siren murder trial that's kind of gripping the nation. And I believe like some superstar, someone famous comes out as being a siren as well. And I really love this concept. I love the sirens, and I love the ostracized community and trying to overcome that. So this is the type of book, I bought it, I'm like, I could totally read this book while sitting next to the pool. And that's definitely what I want to do with that. Alright, next I have a very famous popular book. It was huge last year. It would be a crime not to include it on this vlog, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. If you haven't read this book, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. One moment, Willow needs my attention. So, Beach Read by Emily Henry. This follows Augustus Everett, who is he writes like American literature, like heavy, dense books, and January Andrews. And January they're both writers, she writes romance novels, and she is staying at this cabin that her dad rented with his mistress, and Augustus is renting the cabin next door, and they're both writers, and they both have writer's block. So they decide to team up and to challenge each other to write, to swap genres. So Augustus is going to write a romance novel, and January is going to write a heavy literary fiction. And then they go on they arrange a series of field trips for each other over the course of the summer so that they can expose each other to their writing style and to the research process. And of course, throughout the book, they end up falling in love. And I usually don't go for fluffy romances. I have a few that I want to read this summer. I think I'm going to do a reading vlog of that. But I loved this book. I loved the unique nature. And I love that the romance was kind of like a back burner to everything else. And so this is, it is the perfect beach read, as the name implies. Alright, next we have a new book that just came out. It has a lot of hype around it, and that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So this book follows a group of siblings, and they're having their annual end of the summer pool party, like beach party at their mansion. And it takes place in the 80s, and by the end of the party, the house has burned down. And so it's kind of everything going on in the party that leads up to this house burning down. I haven't read this yet, but it is on my hopefuls for August. But I am super, super, super excited about it. I loved Evelyn Hugo. It's one of my absolute favorite books, and this book has had a lot of hype around it. Plus, the cover is just awesome. It's hard to tell, but there's like little surfers on it and everything. So, how can you not love this book? Next, we have a book that actually is a blurb by Taylor Jenkins Reid on the front, and that is A Star is Born by Byron Lane. And so this book, Byron Lane was an assistant to a very famous actress, and I'm going to let you all guess based on the description of this book. So the main character in this book, Charlie, he is kind of down on his luck, and he decides to work as the personal assistant for this really eccentric actress. No, please don't take all my books. Sorry, Willow is going crazy here. Work as an assistant to this really eccentric actress who's kind of like past her prime. She she came from Hollywood royalty. She was in a famous series. She was like a sex symbol in a famous movie series that takes place in space. And so now she's, seen as like eccentric, over the top, she'll call him up at 3 in the morning going, let's go shopping, and stuff like that. So if you haven't figured it out, Byron was Carrie Fisher's assistant. And so this is kind of like a novelization of what it was like. It kind of reminds me of Nanny Diaries, where the two authors kind of took all their experiences of being nannies in the Upper East Side in New York and kind of smushed them all together into one story. And that's definitely what I'm getting here. Seems light, fun, and for some reason to me it just says summer. Finally, I have the final revival of Opal and Neb by Dawnie Walton. And I don't know a lot about this book. I got it as an add-on for Book of the Month because I thought it sounded really good. And it is about a black punk artist coming of age in Detroit, and her kind of creating her band, and then decades later she's considering a reunion with this band, and she curates an oral history about, she meets with a music journalist who is creating an oral history about her idols. And so it's kind of similar formatting to Daisy Jones and the Six, but just with longer passages. And I think this says summer to me because I'm used to going to like summer concerts and free outdoor concerts, stuff like that. And so this just says to me summer. So those are all the books that I would recommend for, that to me just say summer. Some I've read, some I haven't. I'm hoping to get to a lot of these over the summer, and I will be sure to let you know what I thought of all of them. In the meantime, please comment down below, tell me a book that says to you summer, summer vacations, anything like that. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!